Are you fed up with endless trend cycles? Do you feel like you're wasting too much time, money, and energy buying stuff and then worrying about what to wear? Do you have a closet full of clothes and still struggle to put together outfits? Do you feel like nothing you buy even suits your body type and your style? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, then you might be entitled to compensation from the fast fashion industry. Kidding. But if you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to build a capsule wardrobe this year. What is a capsule wardrobe, you ask? A capsule wardrobe is a collection of clothing and accessories that can be mixed and matched to create a variety of outfits, focusing on versatility and core pieces rather than a large, diverse selection. The idea is to build a wardrobe with a limited number of items that can be styled in a variety of ways to suit a variety of occasions. Technically, when we talk about building a capsule wardrobe, we're actually talking about building seasonal capsule wardrobes that can be rotated and switched out depending on the time of year and the climate you live in. I'll be covering the seasonal aspect of capsule wardrobes more in my next video because this is the first of a two-part series on the whys and hows of building a capsule wardrobe. In part 2, I'll be covering in more detail the actual steps to building a capsule wardrobe. So for now, let's just talk about some of the benefits of a capsule wardrobe and why you should build one. Here are 6 reasons why you should build a capsule wardrobe this year. The first and biggest benefit is that you save money when you stop impulse buying based on trend cycles, and creating a vicious cycle of wanting more all the time. Even if you spend more on individual items, which you don't necessarily have to, and I'll be covering more of that in part 2, you'll spend less in the long run because you'll be buying less overall. The fashion industry is really good at getting people to buy. Flash sales, limited time offers, FOMO or fear of missing out, limited edition drops, even the way shopping apps and websites are built. It's all designed to exploit our nervous system and keep us in a state of never feeling satisfied, so we always want more. You may think you're saving money by buying cheap clothes, but you're not. You're spending more in the long term because you're physically buying more. And those clothes are not designed to last and not designed to even fit most bodies, hence why you feel so dissatisfied. When you slow down your consumption and focus on building a capsule wardrobe, you'll get more control over your spending habits and as a result, more control over your style. Which brings me to my next point. When you start building a capsule wardrobe, you'll stop worrying about trends. You'll stop caring about bullshit like whether or not skinny jeans are in style, whether or not you should be wearing crew socks instead of ankle socks. And you'll start to see all that stuff as just petty and shallow, just people arguing on the internet. Why would you spend time worrying about what teens and 20-somethings think of you and what they think is cool? You're the grown-up here. You'll even start to see trends as kind of weird, especially when you spot them in real life. You'll start to feel exhausted by every new micro trend, and you'll start to see how cringy it all is. Do we say cringy or cringe? See, it's more bullshit. Who cares? And younger generations are even starting to feel this way too. I'm seeing more and more of that same sentiment online. People are sick of trends. They're sick of it. It's so freeing to no longer care about that stuff and to just rise above it all, to have agency over your own style because you live outside the hyper trend cycle. Now, you can direct your energy and mental space to more important things, like resisting capitalism. Building a capsule wardrobe is an act of resistance against capitalism and all the forces compelling us to buy more all the time. The fast fashion industry exploits our planet's resources and contributes to huge amounts of pollution, both in the production and shipping stages. And it exploits and harms the garment workers who make those items. The sheer volume of clothing and other items being created is more than any of us could ever need in our entire lifetime. And most of it is ending up in landfills. Opting out of that system by building a capsule wardrobe allows you to pull away and divest from fast fashion so you can direct your time and resources to more local economies and things you actually care about. This tends to have a compound effect, and you'll start to look for other ways to live more sustainably and mindfully and take part in a more circular economy. And if you want some tips for how to live more sustainably in other areas of your life, I actually have a 4-part series called November. It just came out this past November, but it applies year-round. I call it a survival guide to consumerism. I cover everything from saying no to fashion waste, beauty waste, electronic waste, and adopting a more minimalist and zero-waste lifestyle. I'll link that in the description if you want to check that out. Building a capsule wardrobe helps you get your shit together. Sorting out your closet is a great catalyst for kicking off a decluttering movement and sorting out other areas of your life too. I talk about this more in depth in my video on what I've learned from 10 years of minimalism. But when I was 25, I was really struggling with my mental health and the overall direction of my life. I started learning about minimalism, started decluttering my wardrobe and other areas too, which eventually led me into therapy and even back to school. And I know that seems like a big jump to go from decluttering to therapy, but that's the power of starting a decluttering and organizing process in your life. You're symbolically getting your shit together. Decluttering and building a capsule wardrobe also helps eliminate decision fatigue because you'll no longer waste time and energy worrying about what to wear every day and feeling overwhelmed by your closet. You'll be able to create outfits effortlessly because everything will coordinate. Having a capsule wardrobe makes it easier to still get dressed and feel good about yourself even when life feels overwhelming because it's one less thing to worry about. Think of it as a gift to your future stressed out self. The one who's running late and forgot her lunch. At least she didn't have to spend 20 minutes trying to figure out what to wear. This builds momentum and spurs you on to see what other areas of your life you might want to sort out next. A capsule wardrobe also helps you build confidence. You'll become more confident in your own style and your own body because you know what works for you. And you'll see how trends are designed around specific body types and specific aesthetics. They were never designed to suit every body. So you're not the problem, they are. Building a capsule wardrobe is an exercise in acceptance and being comfortable in your own body and your own lifestyle instead of chasing a fantasy life and a fantasy version of yourself. For example, I work remotely and I'm a pretty big homebody and introvert. 90% of my time is spent in pretty comfortable clothes, so my wardrobe reflects that now. I still have some items for dressing up and going out, but most of my wardrobe leans heavily casual because that's how my life is. I used to buy stuff with a fantasy version of myself in mind, though, and I still do fall into the trap of impulse shopping now and then, but I've decluttered and sold many of those items because I just don't go out as often as I did in my 20s. My life is different now. For a long time, I was still hanging on to this idea of a life full of glamorous parties and events to attend. I love vintage things and old Hollywood glamour, so I was a bit delusional that way, to be honest, and there is still a little bit of a tension there for me. But I found a compromise. I find ways to work a small collection of vintage items that are nicer things that I have into my everyday wardrobe. And I make a point of either actually wearing them or letting them go and selling them. Either accept the life you already have and let your wardrobe start to reflect that, or make a point of wearing those things you're longing to wear and maybe even living the life you're longing to live. You will feel so much freer either way. A capsule wardrobe will allow you to be so much more true to yourself. It's an exercise in realizing that you are enough and you have enough. You'll begin to cultivate an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. I sound like those finance influencers on TikTok and Instagram, but please bear with me. It's not like that. The fashion industry, and in particular, the fast fashion industry, wants you to have a scarcity mindset because it makes you a better consumer when you feel like you're not enough and you never have enough. But a capsule wardrobe will evolve more easily with you as your life and your body go through changes. The fast fashion trend cycle just simply doesn't support that. It doesn't support real life. You'll develop a better relationship with your clothes, and that leads to taking care of things, keeping them longer, and feeling good about wearing them. Building a capsule wardrobe can kind of be seen as a type of art project or creative outlet for you too. You're creating something that's unique to you and that expresses your unique style. Building a capsule wardrobe ultimately helps you tune into your values. It's a process of self-discovery, figuring out what you like, what you don't like, and the kind of life you really want to be living. Our wardrobe and shopping habits represent so much more than just a collection of clothes, shoes, and accessories. They're a reflection of who you are and what you stand for. The fashion industry has so much power, and fast fashion has totally distorted our ability to hone personal style. It's also extremely destructive to the planet and harmful to garment workers. What we wear matters, or we wouldn't spend so much time, money, and energy on it. You can take your power back and live in alignment with your values just by building a capsule wardrobe. All right, that's part 1 of my 2-part series on capsule wardrobes. In part 2, I'll be walking you through the steps you can take to build your own capsule wardrobe. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment letting me know if you're planning to build a capsule wardrobe this year or if you've already started. If you want to see more of this type of content, don't forget to subscribe. I make videos about creative and sustainable style, and I also like to talk about minimalism and intentional living. I hope to see you back here soon. Bye.